Good morning, everybody. Get on WAP here. Morning, Ryan. All right. Space Monkey's gonna be with us in just a minute, a little bit, but we can go ahead and kick it off whenever Jim Money is ready.
Good morning. Let
Morning.
me get into WAP real quick. Okay, yeah, we can get started. Yesterday obviously we had FOMC, very volatile end to the session. Really, we started the day with a bit of a liquidation. Even before the meeting, we got a relief bounce during the meeting, and then ended up giving that entire move back. Really big liquidation into new weekly lows on SPX, and we actually traded a little bit lower into the after hours after Microsoft and Meta earnings. So we actually traded into 72.90 on SPX and then swept to low from June and put in a relief bounce overnight. So not an easy context to come into RTH because we've seen an 80 plus point move. Let's see, almost 90 point move from the lows in the evening last night. So we've put in a relief bounce overnight. So now the issue is, we've already seen this big short covering squeeze in the overnight. Certainly potential for that to get sold in RTH or just chop inside the overnight range. So it's a difficult spot to try to take new trades after the open. I would be a little bit cautious early and kind of give SPX a little bit of time to settle. Always difficult to try to take a new long position on an individual name, for example, after we're up 80 points, 90 points in the overnight session. We're also sitting right at some resistance. As far as the gamma positioning, we've got quite a few resistances above us now, which could easily get sold for a lower high, and sellers continue to, sell most bounces. So the gamma positioning above us, 73.80, 73.95, and 74.10, all of those are pretty difficult resistances. Any of them could reject, well back down into the overnight range. I think 73.95 to 74.10, that area, the gamma positioning at that area would be a pretty good area to try to look to short. We put in a 100 point relief bounce into big gamma resistance. That's a back test short. It's pretty clean back test short opportunity in anywhere that 7400 to 7410 zone. If you want to be short, that's the area I would watch for a rejection. If you're trying to be long, you really need to see a little bit of a pullback. It's hard to take a new long entry here. I think 7350 can be a nice pivot if we reject early in the session and back to 7350, at least for a trade. I think you can watch 7350 for a bounce. And then if 7350 were to fail, I think we can see a larger retracement kind of reversion back down the overnight range. So the main things I'd be watching early would be 7350 to hold, and then that 7400 to 7410 area as resistance. And it could be fairly choppy in between. We're also set to open in negative gamma, which can be volatile two-way moves, faster, quicker momentum in either direction with negative gamma. So that's where we're at, trading right at 73.70 at the moment.
All right. Thank you, Jay. I am now here with you. Thanks for kicking it off, guys. All right, Mateo, you want to tell us a little bit about your focus this morning?
Yes, sir. One thing I would say with S&P that JM said that stood out as a two-way trading. While it might be a little trickier on the open, it is, the volatility is picking up. So as we saw yesterday, some big moves doesn't mean that we, will continue to get that, but volatility is picking up a bit and earnings are out. So this can lead to a lot of really good intraday action. So if you're scalping in particular or looking for quicker day trades, we should get some nice movement, whether it be in the market or individual names. Um, this is where things start to pick up. Doesn't have to necessarily be today specifically, but as we get into the end of the week and into next week, we're starting to get some more breath in the market after we had a couple weeks of pretty much sideways action. This is finally giving us some movement. Microsoft's my focus. I'm not really too interested in a whole lot else this morning. Nice report from them. We saw Microsoft try to turn the corner on the daily over the last month or so. We had a bit of a check back that held around 380, and then we couldn't get through 400, and then now we're gapping through 400 on earnings. So we're established a bit more here on the right side of the chart after being one of the weaker names within Mag 7 after a really nice run earlier. About a year ago, I would say. It's had a bit of a trouble kind of catching its footing. And with this catalyst, this could be the start of that after establishing a bottom around 350. So that's big picture context. That's on the lower time frame. Uh, a bit of trending structure, but a little bit more give and go type structure now in the pre-market. So what that basically just means is if we get a first move down, you want to see something like a move into 420 and change 420, 422 that holds and create some kind of consolidation that is a tradable move back to 432.70. On a first move up, this 432.70 is pretty defined. The higher time frame, that's about where we topped out in the pre-market session and overnight, I believe. So let me actually just double check that. Yeah, so we didn't get any higher than where we were. So 430, 432, pretty big resistance on a first move up. I think a little harder at the open. I'd rather wait and give it a minute and see if it can hold above that for longs. And like I was saying before, Microsoft, ARM, QCOM, Meta, all these names that have reported earnings, not a ton that I like around the open, but that should give us a lot of intraday opportunity. So should be a good number of subs to be looking forward to. Hopefully we get some good movement today following FOMC. But initially off the open, Microsoft's my focus. I think that's one that stands out the most to me.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, great report. Let's see if we can hold up, just like everything else today, I feel. We're gonna go through some of the other names. So SPX, I think we just have to be very flexible with today. If you can go to the SPX daily, you can go to futures SPX just to kind of see it. SPX is right now back testing that area which we try to break through multiple days and finally broke yesterday. It's sitting right around the 80 area, 75, 80. So for me personally, unless we break above 80, it's harder for me to see a long. Otherwise, what JM said about 74.10, I really like for short there. But for now, we're kind of extended. Like to see what happens on the dip. So I think just kind of calling it out. Like technically, we're back testing those previous like 2, 3 days that we're kind of trying to break here. So that's that. Um, Meta had earnings and obviously gapping down quite significantly here, almost 10%. There's a nice little level to watch around that 540. That's the swing low from June 25. And so that could be an excellent area to look for a front side. So if it moves into that area off the open, that could be an excellent short. There's also another swing low on the daily around that 520. I think if 520 breaks, and especially breaks quickly, we could see 500, in today or in the next few days. So definitely not a good report. All the fears that the market has had for Meta, I think, were amplified after this earnings. So not great. I think it's a good downside candidate. Looking at snow, SNOW, we talked about this one yesterday. We talked about that 285 trade, and it was incredibly quick off the open that it made that move and kind of closed near the lows. But for today, what I would like to see here is a break of yesterday's highs and a potential move higher into that 300 psych level. So this is, it remains a tricky one, but it's been acting really strong. And software names have had a really nice kind of, they've showed some relative strength throughout this down period in the overall market. Hasn't been easy, but they're really standing out to me. Microsoft obviously is part of that software space, so some of these names might get a little bit of a bump. So Snow, I'm watching. Hood would be next. Also had earnings and slightly green here. So I would like to see if it can build on this green or if it goes red. And if it goes red, it could be an offside play to the downside, meaning green to red move and a potential put play. So above 90, I like this to the upside. Above yesterday's highs, I'd be a little more excited, I guess, for that push towards that 100. So Hood, there's a catalyst there. Let's see what it does. Now, my favorite today, not the most exciting name, but Starbucks. Uh, this is one that I know members have uh, heard me talk about in the past. We've actually watched this 108, 110 zone. And what I would say is that if this one could uh, move above 109, break 110, I think we could see a larger move in this one. Fundamentally, pretty good earnings report. We are pulling back in pre-market off of those highs. I do think that it's a nice little reset here. So a little more aggressive trade would be a little bit of a dip below this 107.75, the low from this PM. And if we could sweep that, could be a nice little dip and rip. So I'll be watching that very carefully. I'll also be watching if we move towards that 109, 110 zone for a potential move back to 116 PM high. That's all I got today. I know Sarang's going to talk about a few other names. Good morning, Sarang.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Um, so I think you guys have covered most of the name, but apart from that, I think ARM also looks nice. ARM also reported earning yesterday, and after earning, we dropped around close to 200, and now in the pre-market we are close to 250. So this is a wide range, almost 25% of move after earning got announced. So I feel like this one will have more energy for a movement. So what I'm watching is on a daily time frame. This 238 to 240 area is the key. Uh, yeah, just little bit left. So you see the 238 area. Uh, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that was a historical high where we see a good rally after we break out, right? So if we see a pullback around that 238 to 240 area, so I'll be watching for a reversal. So to be honest, for now it's looking extended, so I won't be trading at open. But if we see a pullback and some base around 238 to 240 area and then move higher, yeah, I would like to take a trade on that, maybe 250 call on that one. And second one, I think Hood, I think looks nice. Generally, the stocks I have seen like a couple of last 4 or 5 charts. So we generally break the pre-market low in first 5 minutes of uh, opening. So what I'm watching is this 88 area is the key area to hold. So I'm watching if we break 88 area and at the open, and then we reclaim that 88 area. So I'll be looking to play a 91 call on the hood. That's the one. And Meta I think looks nice. I think Space Monkey, I have the same plan like you for 538 to 540 area to watch for rejection. So I'll be not taking the front side short, but what I will be watching is this pre-market structure around 530 area. So if I see a rejection around 538, and if we break this 528 to 530 area, So I'll be targeting 523 and 518 on Meta. And
Hmm.
technically, I think I have one trade I'm watching from few days. So since we have a month end, so what I'm watching this UNH actually. UNH
Hmm.
had a earning. If you look at the daily structure on the UNH, after earning we had a big red day like 462 to almost 420, and then we are just chopping around that 415 to 420 area and moving higher. So since we have a month end, so we already seen a big move from 460 to 420 on the earning, right? So what I'm watching is break below this 413 to 415 area on the UNH. So we'll be targeting minimum 407 and 400 on UNH. So our wall is not looking great, but if we see the R wall, I would like to take a trade on that. And Eli Lilly also seeing some sector rotation on this one. Eli Lilly is also looking weak. So let's see if we get a buyers or if we get a sellers on UNH. Yeah, but this is a side watch for me, not a opening drive. But we'll see how we react at the open. Mm, yeah, I think that's it from mine.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sarang, for sharing those tips. Okay, time check here, 7 minutes until the open. So let's give ourselves a few minutes to settle before the open. With that, we have about, let's just say 4 or 5 minutes to look at some names here. Go through the chat. Take a look at QQQ. QQQ opening right below +1 ATR as per Dortz here. Thank you, Dortz. It's going to be interesting. Always when we get a day like yesterday, I use the two extremes as pivots. So if you could break above yesterday's highs, QQQ, SPX, IWM, what happened yesterday is kind of done with, and we can look up or look forward rather. But if we're within the range, there's always a chance that we can revisit two extremes. Um, so yeah, QQQ in a very strong downtrend now. Adobe's been looking pretty good over the last few days. I actually noticed that yesterday. I looked at it and it has 4 really nice green days in a row. And this comes after earnings at the beginning of June. So it's really making a nice little turn here, although it's harder to trade for me. I would like this one to actually move above the 200-day at 277 here. Break back above the 200-day, which is something we have not done ever since we gap below in December of 2024. Like for me, that's a significant technical change that would make me feel a little bit better at the upside. But it's one-time framing to the upside. So if you're really excited about trading Adobe, I would watch yesterday's highs for continuation to that 200-day moving average around 277. Oracle software, I don't see it.
Yeah.
LRCX, sorry, Matei, go ahead.
No, it's nothing. Go ahead.
LRCX gapping up 18%. This is after earnings, and there's no real structure. It's squeezing to the upside. It could present us with an intraday setup, perhaps. We are testing 300 now as we speak. So definitely some momentum here to watch. You just can't really chase this here. Give premiums a little break, maybe a pullback
Huge pump.
could be looked at for. Yeah. But yeah, good call out. So yeah, I mean, Tesla keeps holding 300, dipped below it yesterday and recovered. I would use 300 as a pivot. Harder for me to trade upside here. I think what could happen is that once we get the SpaceX earnings out of the way, Tesla might present us with some sort of opportunities. For me right now, Tesla is just a no go. NLW, yeah, I don't have nothing to say here. Do you?
One second. Let's see. No. What below the prior daily bar low, 109 is a spot you'd want to see it defend. Looks like it needs a little time. It's an interesting rotation in a month here already starting, I feel like.
All right, so that's it for me. I was trying to get focused here. Focus for me is Starbucks at the open. I'll watch Microsoft as well.
Starbucks. SPX. Cool. Pop Microsoft.
Yeah. 434 area is the 200-day moving average. You're going to open right at it. I like Starbucks for an open drive, actually. How's Arval on Starbucks, Mate? Can you give me that before you settle in?
Yeah. Sorry. Sec here. Very good, 12th, but that's relative, right? So
Sure.
it doesn't always get volume. The structure looks kind of ready, so, but there's definitely people there. So
Thank you. Microsoft, huge pop here.
yeah. Jeez, Microsoft, the flipper, the flip.
I'll be watching 112 calls Starbucks for next week. Is that sweep on Starbucks I was talking about around that 107.80?
Hey, Microsoft, what the hell?
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Just heads up, 15 seconds to go. Hassett's out there speaking as well at this point, talking about wars,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Other flipper. Market open.
Yep.
Watch 432.70 back test Microsoft. Is that back test?
I'm not loving Starbucks here. It's going red almost.
I'm getting filled Microsoft here 440s 6. Looking to use a fairly tight stop on this. I like that 432.70 hold. $442 above, a little resistance.
I think 73.80 here, SPX.
Microsoft popped the high there. There we go, Microsoft. Selling half Microsoft here. Bang bang, as Monkey would say.
Liar.
Guys, those premiums went crazy right there. There's some resistance here, guys, Microsoft, so don't get greedy. I think it's good to secure some into this pop. In fact, I'm going to look to get down to a little bit more. They're really expensive around the open, so just managing profit. Let the rest ride. So it's um 6 stops in at break even. Wow, Microsoft's really strong. That back to Space Monkey was like textbook 432.70. I don't know if you had that level or not. We talked
Yes,
about it, but
yeah, 432, 433, also the
yeah,
200-day moving average.
right. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Might try Starbucks, kind of a risky play here.
My goodness, Microsoft.
Guys, I got filled 83 cents here, 108 calls.
I'm gonna look to roll
Starbucks.
Microsoft. I'm all out. Uh,
Sold here some. So you can get back of ATR here, Starbucks. Trying to get filled here again. Just want to be out half here. Okay, just got filled here. 60%. Back above ATR. Let's see if we can push. Microsoft, fantastic move, dude. Wow. Just got filled again. Nice little hammer bar on Starbucks. You can roll into 110s here and see if you can get push higher.
Right. This 73.95 area on SPX is going to be pretty tough, I think. If you don't clear there and fail 70, it gets fairly thin if we fail 70 here. So 73.70 and 73.95 are the main spots right here early in the session.
108's. We're testing 108 here. Starbucks. One oh eight's in the money here. Guys, these guys are almost $2. Trying to get filled at $2.
Really nice turn, Starbucks there.
Big move, Starbucks, guys. Paid for a few Starbucks. Hold'em runners here, guys. MU really strong today. SNDK strong as well. Okay, I'm rolling up here potentially soon here. 110 calls with profit. Just watching it, not really ready yet to commit. Microsoft. Let me take a look at Microsoft. Yeah, I mean, natural target Microsoft would be that gap fill above, and then the 4677 kind of top from earlier this year. In terms of gamma J, I'm seeing that 7440 is above spread, pretty strong positioning above.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna have to clear this 80 and 95 to get there. It's the daily charm flip is maybe an issue.
75 area, 7580. We talked about this earlier. Could be a really nice kind of dip buy on SPX for a push higher. Uh, Not really good. A little bit more aggressive entry for a long, I guess. I think the 50 that you mentioned is a little bit better. This could be a nice long here, SPX, as I said, guys. 75 hold. Above 80, bang. Sorry, above 80 maybe is a little bit better for a potential move
Yeah,
7400 above 75.
thin above 80
Mhm.
would get that move into 95, 400
Mhm.
quickly.
Yeah, I might be looking at this trade, guys. Let me see. X 75, 73, 85. I still hold this Starbucks there. That's your roll up area. Very spready. Very, very spready. Okay, a little bit better now here. Really nice hold of that 75, break above 85. Now we're moving 7,400. Pretty much as planned. All right, so I just rolled Starbucks. Yeah, good job, D-Wood, catching the SPX move. Fantastic, beautiful. 7,400 natural kind of resistance here, but then 7,410. Be curious to see what they do there. That one is getting a little smaller compared to earlier, I feel, Jay. And that
Yeah,
7,440 spread above is huge, yeah?
yeah, I'm much less interested in shorting now. That
Yeah.
spread we're trying to be in supportive now, and so I think that spread is more magnetic. So much harder to short this, in my opinion. I think you got to wait for 75 to fail at this point. Things have changed since the open. This is a
Mhm,
lot more biased to the upside.
mhm. SNDK recovering 1,200. Plus one ATR test here. SPX 7,400 plus one ATR is right there. QQQ squeezing to the upside here. Meta not really making any new lows. That's one of the signs you'd want to look for. And Microsoft is kind of trading within its own kind of thing today. Tesla's holding up really nicely. Semiconductor is holding up okay. AMD 472 test, really strong move off of yesterday's lows, and Nvidia is trying to recover to the day moving average. Hard to trade Nvidia, but just one worth to keep an eye on. Here's your 7400 test. 7400 tag here, plus money to our SPX. That's likely going to be our orb high to watch, and the orb low is that 75 that we kind of turned off, 70, 75 area that we turned off higher. Starbucks moving lower here.
I have 454, 453.50 to be exact on Microsoft. It's a level to watch here coming up quick. I'm going to be patient on rolls from here. If it wants to keep going, that's fine. Really nice trade. I do need to step away for just a minute. I'll be back.
I think 7400 is going to be much of a resistance here. I think 7410 is more likely of a push into here. Let's see. SNBK, a really strong move today. All right, Starbucks kind of failing me here on that roll, so I might just cut that roll, just preserve some. All right, I'm all out. Starbucks. The roll up at least. All right, Starbucks is kind of dead to me here, so I'll add an alert around that 108.50 just in case it turns. SPX, really nice move here. Starbucks failing here, not great. Okay, let's take a look at Google. Meta 540, guys. Keep an eye on that. Gonna be harder to short here, I feel, but let's see. SPX, that was the trade, guys. Really nice trade.
Yeah, so 7410, possible reaction here, and then above 7410 could potentially kind of grind into that 35. And I do still like 7380 on back tests for a dip buy. If we were to see that, I think that's a good area for a bounce.
More aggressive dip here would be 73.95, maybe. Dip below 400.
Yes,
Hold and go.
yeah, definitely a little bit higher risk, but the most bullish scenario, you could hold 95 and then try to get through 7410.
That's rejection of that 540 area. Lower. AMD rocket ship.
Just a quick note, SPX we're at +1, which is 73.99, and NQ, which is QQQ futures, is at +1 as well. ES has room to the upside, 7447. Just keep in mind, I think we have a lot more juice in the tank today potentially, but that could be a reason for why price is stalling here for the time being.
Meta's breaking down here. Divergence on this candle here. 10, 15, 30-minute divergence. Sellers kind of absorbing this push. I'd be a little cautious.
ES got near to +1. Caution there as well. A lot of names over +1 as well. Not to say that they can't run more, just keep that in mind.
It's harder to buy here, but sometimes these days they just it's a lot of buying. It's just you might not get that ultimate perfect entry. We had it. I called it out, but I didn't take it. That 85, 70 hold, 85 break was best. See if you can revisit that. Starbucks.